How to play your new favorite game. Your box probably looks something like this, but we have a more vintage quality set complete with this little suitcase. The contents of the game will usually include 4 playing racks that look something like this, and in our case we won't be using them since we will be having our tiles face up for explanation purposes. The game also comes with 106 tiles, 2 sets of each color, and 2 wild cards. To begin with, dump out all the tiles and flip them face down. Make sure you shuffle them well, otherwise you'll have a bunch of identical numbers and that tends to ruin the game. Before we begin playing the game, let's go over some basics. This here is a set. A set contains at least 3 playing tiles. There are 2 different kinds of sets. There is a run, like this for example, which contains 3 or more tiles with consecutive numbers of the same color. The other kind of set is called a group, like this one for example, which consists of the same number but in different colors. There cannot be 2 same colors in the same group. And this here is a wild. It can be used as any number, any color, and it can be reused. We'll show you how later in the game. So it can go here for example, or here, just anywhere. Wilds are awesome in any game. So in summary, a group is the same number in different colors, and a run is 3 or more tiles with consecutive numbers in the same color. Since the best way to learn is to actually play the game, let's just begin. To begin the game, each player draws 14 tiles and puts them in his playing rack. In this example, we're not using playing racks since we want you to see our tiles, and we will be playing a 2-player game, but the same rules would apply in a 3 or 4-player game as well. In the beginning of the game, there's one more rule you should be aware of. The very first set that you put out has to equal to at least 30 points. Until you do that, you cannot put out any other tiles or add on to any other player's sets. Here we see that player 1 got lucky and he got a set that was over 30 points right off the bat. So 10 plus 11 plus 12 equals 33 points, that gets him over that minimum of 30. Player 2 was not as fortunate and does not have a set or sets that can go over 30 points. Therefore, she draws 1 tile from the drawing pile, which automatically ends her turn. Player 2 still can't do anything, so she keeps drawing tiles. At this point, player 1 is out of options as well, so he has to draw a tile too. They continue drawing tiles until one of them can make a move. The objective of the game is to get rid of all of your tiles. The first player to do so wins the game. After a few more turns of drawing tiles, player 2 finally got enough to go over 30 points. She puts out a blue run worth 27 points and a red run worth 21 points, which puts her well over the 30 points. After a player puts out his first set or sets that goes over 30 points, he's then able to add on to any of the sets that are already on the table. On your turn, you must put out at least 1 tile onto the table, or take a tile from the drawing pile and end your turn. There is no limit to how many tiles a player can put out per turn. Here we see that player 1 drew a joker, or a wild. He then uses it to create a group of 7s. So in this case, the joker is either a blue 7 or a red 7. And if other players have a blue or a red 7, they can replace that wild with their number. They then get to reuse that wild, but they cannot put it back into their hand. Player 2 uses the wild to make a group of 13s. In the next turn, player 1 adds 13s to that same group and takes that wild once again. You can manipulate sets in this way as much as you want, as long as there's at least 3 tiles remaining in each set at the end of your turn. Here we see an example of a split. A split is when you divide one set and turn it into 2 sets, so that you can add more tiles to them. Here's an example of another interesting move. Player 1 takes 3 runs and turns them into 3 groups, so that he can add his blue 1 and the 2 to those groups. After many turns, player 2 finally completes the game by laying out all her tiles onto the table. At this point, you congratulate the winner and play again. Well guys, thank you for watching, and if you have any further questions about the gameplay, we would be happy to answer your questions in the comments below. Have fun and enjoy the game.